If I asked you what the biggest threat to your wealth is, you'd probably say a market crash, high inflation, or global recession. But the truth is much closer to home. In fact, the biggest threat to your financial future is staring right back at you in the mirror every morning. It's you. Don't take it personally. It's just how we're wired. Our brains are hardwired for survival in the savannah, not for navigating the modern stock market. We are glitches in our own operating system. Today, we're going to look at the enemy in the mirror, those six psychological pitfalls that trick us into buying high and selling low, but more importantly, I'm going to show you how to outsmart yourself. Let's head to the video and look at the 188 reasons your brain is trying to sabotage your bank account.
Hey, welcome! So, have you ever made what you thought was the perfect budget, a totally solid financial plan, only to just watch it completely fall apart a few weeks later? If that sounds familiar, then this is definitely going to resonate with you. Today, we're diving into why all that traditional financial advice, the spreadsheets, the rules, so often misses the single most important part of the whole equation, which is you. It is such a common thing, right? It's so frustrating. You start with the absolute best intentions. You build the spreadsheet. You set these amazing goals. And then, well, life does what it does. But what if the problem isn't really the plan? What if it's something way, way deeper that's going on? And boom, there it is. That's the key. No Medora just hits the nail on the head here. You can have the most sophisticated, detailed plan in the world, but it's pretty much useless if it doesn't account for the why. The psychology behind your urge to spend or your drive to save.
Okay, so let's really dig into this. We are constantly told to focus on all these external things, right? The stock market, interest rates, what the economy is doing. But honestly, the biggest, most impactful variable in your financial future, it isn't any of those things. It's you. It has always been you. Think of it like this. There's this unseen force that's guiding your hand every time you pull out your wallet. That's your money personality. It's your default setting. It's that typical pattern of how you instinctively think, feel, and act when it comes to money. It's basically the operating system running in the background of every single financial decision you make. So, the big question is, how do we get a handle on this personality? Well, there's a fantastic framework for this, and it's built around an idea called a habitude. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's a really powerful concept. A habitude is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's this blend of your habits and your attitudes. It's where what you do without even thinking about it smashes together with what you believe deep down about money. And that combination, it creates this ingrained blueprint that shapes almost every single financial move you make. Now here's where it gets really interesting. It turns out that most of our habitudes tend to fall into one of 6 main personality types. So as we walk through these, just kind of ask yourself, hey, does that one sound a little too familiar? First up, we have the security personality. If this is you, money's #1 job is to make you feel safe. You're probably a great saver, you steer clear of debt, and you get a real sense of anxiety when your emergency fund feels a little light. The flip side for you might be taking those well-calculated risks that are actually needed for growth. Next is the planning type. For you, money is a tool. It's the raw material you use to build the future you want. You are a natural-born goal setter, always thinking 5, 10, 20 years down the line. Your blind spot? Maybe being a little too rigid and reluctant to jump on a great spontaneous opportunity because, well, it's not in the plan. Then we have the status personality. This type sees money as a way to project a positive image to the world. The brand of the watch, the neighborhood you live in, these things matter because they are symbols of success. The obvious danger here, of course, is getting more focused on the appearance of wealth than on building actual, sustainable wealth. And then there's the giving type. You get the most joy and satisfaction from using your money to help other people. You're incredibly generous, and you truly feel that money is at its best when it's being shared. The big challenge for you is just to make sure you aren't neglecting your own financial security in the process of taking care of everyone else. The spontaneous personality, your mantra is basically you only live once. For you, money is fuel for enjoyment, for adventure, for living in the here and now. The puzzle you have to solve is figuring out how to save for the future in a way that doesn't feel like you're punishing your present self. And last but not least, the carefree personality. If this is you, money just isn't a huge deal. It's not a priority. You have this deep trust that things will just kind of work themselves out. Your main area for growth is realizing that a little bit of planning now can prevent a whole lot of stress later on, giving you even more freedom, not less. So, figuring out your type, that's a huge first step. But the real power comes when you start to understand why these personalities have such a tight grip on us. They're tied to some really deep psychological forces. This slide really just lays it all out. We get so caught up in the external stuff, the spreadsheets, the market news, the budgets, but the real game is being played internally. The real drivers are your core personality, your hidden biases, and the personal story about money that you've been telling yourself your whole life. And that leads us to maybe the most important point of all. At the end of the day, the single most powerful financial tool you will ever have is self-awareness. Just knowing your tendencies, understanding your triggers, and seeing your own blind spots, that gives you an unbelievable advantage. Let's just touch on a few of these because they're fascinating. Loss aversion? That's that gut-wrenching feeling when you think about selling a stock for less than you paid, even if it's the smartest move. Anchoring is when you see a coat that was originally $500, now on sale for $200. That first number is stuck in your head, so $200 feels like an amazing deal, even if the coat isn't even worth that. And herd mentality? That's the FOMO that makes us want to pile into a hot stock, usually right before it crashes. So, once we can recognize our personality type and see these biases in action, it allows us to do something truly game-changing. It lets us take back control of our own personal financial narrative. See, we all have a money story. It's that collection of beliefs you carry around about wealth and debt and what it means to be secure. It's a story that was written for you by your childhood, by watching your parents, by the big wins and hard losses in your life. It's the subconscious script you've been following for years. But here's the thing. You do not have to just be a passive character in a story that someone else wrote. The entire goal here is to become the active author. It's about picking up the pen, looking at that old story, and consciously deciding which chapters still serve you and which ones, well, they need a major rewrite. Ultimately, this is what we're all aiming for, right? The point isn't to get rid of your personality or to fight your emotions. No way! The goal is to understand them so well that they become like a supportive wind in your sails, pushing you exactly where you want to go, instead of being this disruptive, hidden current that's constantly pulling you off course. So I'm just going to leave you with this one thought. The story of your financial life up to this very moment has already been written. The only real question left is, are you ready to pick up the pen and become the author of what comes next?
It's a massive realization when you discover that your financial life isn't just about spreadsheets. It's about the story you've been telling yourself since you were a kid. Whether you're a security type who needs a safety net or a spontaneous soul who wants to live for today, the goal is to gain enough self-awareness that your personality becomes a wind in your sails rather than a current pulling you off course. You don't have to be a passive character in a script that was written for you by your past. You have the power to pick up the pen and decide exactly how the next chapter of your financial life is going to read. So my question to you is simple. Are you ready to become the author of your life? If you want to dig deeper into your own habitude and build a plan that finally works with your personality instead of against it, let's talk. Subscribe to keep rewriting your story with me, and I'll see you in the next video.